You are listening to the On Purpose Podcast. Welcome, everybody, to the On Purpose Podcast, episode 177. I want to thank you for being here, and I hope you had a good summer. This will be airing in September, so we're officially moving into the fall season, and I hope your summer was awesome. You're ready for fall. Fall is always one of my favorite times of year. The colors, the temperature change, and just the wrapping up of getting out of the heat every day. You know, even though I love heat, it's always a nice change. So first off, I want to thank all of our Patreon members for making this show possible. Without your contributions, we probably wouldn't be continuing over 3.5 years of weekly content designed to grow our purposeful community around the world. So if you're interested in becoming a Patreon and helping us out, please visit patreon.com/the On Purpose Podcast, and we'd appreciate any contributions you want to make as we continue on our quest to be one of the most influential podcasts in the world. All right, this week I'm going to share something a little personal with you all. Over the summer, my father-in-law, Andrea's dad, passed away, and fairly quick. But we were able to say the things we wanted to say to him. And it was one of my first experiences being that close to somebody in the process of leaving this world and getting to share with him personally what he meant to me and what he meant to our family, and hopefully providing some peace to him that he had done a good job and was safe to make that next journey. So I wanted to share on the show not only what he meant to me, but what I learned from him, in hopes that you all learn something from us. And there's that quote that I've referenced a couple different times, and that is that you actually die 2 deaths. You die the first time when your physical body is no longer on earth. And your second death is when someone says your name for the last time. So it's my hopes, by sharing some of my thoughts and feelings and memories, that we keep Ed Skinner, aka Pops, name alive just a little bit longer, so that he stays with us just a little bit longer, so that his impact and his legacy can reach out to a lot of you who never met him, but maybe you can learn a lesson from how he lived his life. So I want to tell you, my relationship with Pops was no startling revelations. He didn't teach me something that I don't feel like I knew. There was no vast new skill I developed or a new way of thinking. But what Pops taught me, and that's not to diminish some of the stuff. Yeah, he helped me on projects, and I learned some of that stuff from him. But what I'm getting at here is, a lot of times we think of people and they have to have a grand impact to have an impact at all. Right? They have to do something on a macro level, a huge level, or they're not going to be remembered. What I would challenge with is, my memory of Pops and the impact he made on our lives was very micro. It was a bunch of small things. Starting with, he was always there. Which is actually a skill, right? Consistency and showing up is a skill, whether you're consistently showing up for yourself, you're consistently showing up for others. Showing up is a skill, and it's a lost skill in today's world, where we want gratitude, or we want instant gratitude. We want everything right now. Pops was the guy that would be quiet and easy to overlook in a room of strangers. But if you did, you'd miss out on a laugh or a little tidbit of wisdom that he kept close to his vest. He was the guy that would complain or talk about how hard something was the first time you approached him with an idea. Yet he knew, and you knew, he was going to do it to the best of his ability eventually. He was a guy that loved family dinners and game nights and just sitting around a campfire. He was an example of consistency to others that he never had in his life. His love was shown not through words, but through actions and projects. You never had to worry about whether he was coming to your wrestling or gymnastics meet, your dance recital, or your school function. You just knew you always needed to save a seat because he would be there. He was a giant piece to our family puzzle that will be sorely missed. His quick-witted one-liners, the overabundance of gratitude for a meal well cooked, the love and patience he showed his wife and his family. He was the man that refused to leave any of us. His lesson to me was to always be there, to keep showing up. And by showing up, you'll contribute. By showing up, you'll have an impact. Just your presence can calm a rough day, put a smile on somebody's face in a time of need, can be the security and safety they look for in uncertain times. He taught me you don't need to be the loudest, the brashest, the fanciest to make those impacts. You just need to be there. And when you're there, you're creating a legacy. Now, Pops wasn't a perfect man. He was flawed, as we all are. But as our family continues on now without him, his consistency in showing up for being there perseveres and continues on. And I hope all of you listening on this week's show take a minute to evaluate, are we showing up? Are we consistently there in the lives of the people that need us most? Are we only going when we get to be the fanciest, the brightest, the biggest? Or are we showing up every single day so that when our time comes to transition, we have that peace of mind that we showed up and that we lived our days and we lived our small moments? You see, I don't have memories of a big one-time defining moment for Pops. I can't think of that one time that we all celebrate and that was the pinnacle. But I do remember lots of small moments and lots of moments that would be easy to overlook in the hustle and bustle of our lives. And I'm thankful for those small moments. And I want you all to take a moment this week to think of your small moments, those both you're receiving and those you're giving. And if you find that that's imbalanced, that you're receiving far more than you're giving, let's make that change. And if you find on those lists people that are giving that maybe you haven't showed the best gratitude towards, that maybe you haven't said I love you in a while, or I'm appreciative and I thank you, Let's reach out and make those connections. Because as we watched and hopefully provided peace for Pops' journey, most of our family peace came knowing that he knew how we felt about him, that we had said those very words to him and allowed him to have as much peace as possible in his transition. So I hope you like this week's episode. It's I will always tell you, and in person I tell people all the time that this podcast is as much therapy and emotional release for me as that is gaining knowledge for you, and I'm thankful that you tune in week after week with me, and for 3.5 years and 177 episodes. Much gratitude to you all, and let's put in some practice this week on looking at how we're showing up and how we're appreciating those that do show up in our lives. Have an awesome week. Thank you.
And remember, team, life is far too short to live any other way than on purpose. We will see you all again next week.